Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a review for you today because I finished this book and it was amazing and I decided that I needed to talk about it. And that book is Vicious by V.E. Schwab, or Victoria Schwab. For those of you who do not know, this is an adult fantasy book following two main characters who met while they were college roommates. We follow Victor and Eli. They are pre-med students at Lakeland University and they both are very ambitious. They're kind of drawn to each other by this dark, intriguing spark that they see in each other and want to push each other and also do better than each other in their studies. They begin their senior year and are starting their thesis and try to figure out if there is a theory or any facts behind extraordinary people. So if there is a way that people get extra strength or powers through any scientific means. We jump 10 years in the future when Victor escapes prison and the only thing he has on his mind is to kill Eli. They go from college roommates to enemies and we get to have a jump back and forth, filling in all of the gaps in the story while we start out 10 years in the past and then come to the present, which they have met in this town of Merritt and are trying to kill each other. It is action-packed, it is fast-paced, it is really anything you want in something anti-hero but also with heroes, and kind of like Charles Xavier meets Victor Von Doom and all of these really cool thoughts and stories that go into this. This was originally a standalone, but V.E. Schwab just announced that there is going to be a sequel to this, which I am super excited for. For those of you guys who have not read this, you can leave now. I'm going to go into spoilery discussions and I hope that you come back when you have read this because it's amazing. You can read it in one sitting. I read it in a day and it just grabs you and pulls you through all of the adventures and you really want to know what's happening and all of the quirky little characters that you get to meet and intriguing abilities and things that have happened in order to get there. Yep, so I will see you when you read it. Hello, those of you who have read Vicious. I hope that you're not spoiling yourself, because that would be weird. And to each their own, let's get into it. I absolutely fell in love with this book. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to read next. I just finished the Mistborn trilogy and was feeling myself getting into a book slump, and I was like, I need something that's quick-paced, that I can read quickly, that's gonna get me through, and intrigued, and just right before finals week, I need something to sate that ability that I'm not going to fall into a pit of despair of not having my character from Mistborn. This definitely did the job. Vicious, as you guys know, Victor and Eli, we start off when they're in college, which is so awesome, and I loved her detailing and medical knowledge because I'm currently in my senior year of college. I'm taking 4 years, but I'm also in the medical field and was pre-med for a while. And hearing just everything, I love when authors use obviously real detail, and if they're set in our world we get to learn things about new things. So here we're seeing all of the different medical terms and how adrenaline works on the body and seeing how ambitious they are to continue with everything and finding their discoveries in their theses, like when Victor goes on vacation and then comes back and Eli has gotten all of his breakthroughs and that you need near-death experiences and trauma in order to do it, and whether or not there can be a controlled environment, and Victor obviously having what I like to call is a Ron complex from Harry Potter, where he's kind of the second best but doesn't really like it. So his Ron complex gets the better of him and he needs to do better and he needs to get their thesis together, and it's so good because obviously you feel for him, and when you're on his side, I mean, me reading this, I was obviously on Victor's side, and Eli is a zealous nutjob who has gone so far out of his range that he's the bad guy, even though he thinks that he's a good guy, and he's trying to do all these things because the EOs aren't themselves, they're just shadows of themselves and they're wrong, but then he should just kill himself, even though you can't, but still, that was ridiculous. I love Victoria's writing and how she is not sated with being able to just follow one story. We get to go into so many different people's minds. We get to follow Sydney and Mitch and have their backstories, and even bringing Serena into it and having them all just be so intricately drawn. Obviously everybody has different needs and wants and things that push them and drive them in real life, and having such different characters like Victor, this 32-year-old EO who can manage pain, and Mitch, who thinks he has a curse on him but he's this huge bulking tattooed ex-con, and then this 12-year-old little girl who can bring people back from the dead, and her huge like Great Dane dog Dole, which was adorable. I loved that Victoria can bring in so many different little quirky details into her stories and continue on with them. Also, one of the things that I absolutely loved about this was that it reminded me of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, which is my favorite classic of all time, and I could just see those little nuances and like gothic themes and things, especially with like Victor Frankenstein having that. You could see that they were their own creation instead of having like Frankenstein's monster. They created themselves with these controlled environments and were able to like use science to try and create this new life and like bring people back to life in order to have this new like level of human. And obviously it goes wrong because you're not supposed to mess with nature. But having their like higher level of thinking and abilities to like go after each other and plan everything, and that it's not all laid out and you don't know it until the culminating end when they're all in the skyrise and like, he kills Victor! Like, what? Wasn't expecting that. I mean, obviously we know that like Sydney can bring him back to life, but when they're there I thought he like really I thought he was gonna behead him. Like, one way to obviously kill somebody who's regeneration, although we don't know about like Deadpool or Wolverine, but it would be with a beheading, and I thought that's what he was gonna do, and instead they were just like playing with each other. But it was so good because he killed Serena, and that's what like was the downfall of Eli. And even though Eli the entire time he like hated his dependency on Serena, and he kept like convincing himself, it's just like, it's not dependency, it's just convenient. I just keep her around for convenience and whatever. And I didn't even see that like that it's all like flowing together, and then at the end it's just like, oh yeah, you were super dependent on her because everybody wouldn't be following you if not, because they trusted her, and oh my gosh. I know her death was necessary, but she did have like the change of heart at the end and let Sydney go, and I feel bad that Victor actually killed Serena and Sydney doesn't know, but I think they'll be able to get over it. Especially, oh, it was so sweet when Serena was just like, go find somewhere safe, and she's like, safe is no longer a place for me, it's a person, it's Victor. That was so cute. And that you have somebody that's not going to be like, oh, this 12-year-old, oh my gosh, he's a burden on society, and I'm trying to have my life's goal of the last decade to culminate, and I don't need this child tagging around. But it just goes to show that you should never like judge a book by its cover, because obviously Sydney was like really important in that she convinced him to go and get Dominic, and obviously Dominic was a huge part of this and then brought him back to life, and it's somebody that you just need. You don't kick the runt out of the litter just because he's smaller than everybody else. He might have some good qualities that come along in the end. So after finishing this in one sitting, I definitely can't really start anything right now because my finals start tomorrow, but I'm very excited to continue with this. I am now more intrigued in like adult fantasy, but kind of in realistic terms, because this is an alternate reality, and I also really want to read more about superheroes now, with like Wonder Woman coming out and all of the authors like digging into all of those like DC and Marvel with Black Widow and all of the other books. I'm just very excited and intrigued to where this kind of storyline is going to lead us, and where V. Schwab's gonna go with the sequel. I don't know if like Victor's gonna create an X-Men and like find all the other EOs and bring them together, but we'll see. I'm very excited. Alright guys, that was all I have to say on Vicious. If you want to discuss it, obviously talk to me in the comments. I'd love to talk about it with you. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!